Hey cats, it's your midsole man here, EDDBUD, back with one of my classic running shoe yay or nay videos. Within this series, it's not me saying a shoe is a treasure or total trash. I won't know that till I get them on foot. Today we have the potential trail treasure from SAUCONY, the Endorphin Rift, a second dive into the Max cushion pillow from Brooks with the Ghost Max, a look at the forthcoming SAUCONY Endorphin Speed 4, and an update on the Endorphin Elite, a shoe which has eluded me so far. Loads to cover, so let's get straight into it. Thanks for joining me once again. Hit that subscribe button to help us get to 1 million subscribers. Also give this video a thumbs up, like that really helps out. Dankeschön. Shoe 1 today is the Endorphin Rift. So many of you have asked me to cover this shoe on the channel. I think it must be a honorary yay. It's coming in pretty low for a trail shoe weight wise and has a full PWRRUN PB midsole. I love that stuff, so I can't see anything that I dislike so far. 2 boxes ticked. The upper is one of those that does the heavy lifting rather than the laces themselves. I think it's a bit of a stretchy sort of booty. Maybe once I've got the shoe on I'll never be able to take it off. There's some rocking Power Track outsole rubber here, which is almost tire-like in its implementation. And that's a really attractive option right now, considering that my local routes are full of debris, are very, very wet, and having some gargantuan grip would be really beneficial right now. I'm always on the lookout for a shoe that can be used on a daily basis, regardless of the terrain, and this one might do the trick for a road to trail type session. In wet weather, where you don't want something that's overtly clunky like some trail shoes can feel sometimes, you don't want anything that's too overblown, and the weight on this one is really low for a trail offering. Maybe a speed-like feel here, but with the trails in mind, possibly. I love the PWRRUN PB with its beaded P-Max foam. Makes it a little bit firmer. You know, you haven't got all the glues there holding together the bits like you've got with that sort of reconstituted Zoom X stuff in the Nike shoes. They kind of compress the stuff together to form the footbed rather than gluing it all. So I'm hoping for some reasonable durability here, because that foam, you know, it can be a little bit fragile, I suppose, but still with the nice foot-forgiving feel that we all love. I'm really keen on the profile of the shoe, and I'm keen to see what the differences are between this and something like the Exodus Ultra 2, which I checked out recently. There's no plates or anything here, aside from a 4-foot sort of rock plate protection area. I think it's pretty thin though. I don't think it's going to act like a plate or anything. 5mm drop and a reasonable stack. I think about 33mm by all accounts. So it's a yay for the SAUCONY Endorphin Rift. Really keen to try this one out. See where it sits between the other SAUCONY trail models. Shoe 2 is the Brooks Ghost Max. So I reviewed the Ghost 15 a little while back, earlier this year. Solid daily model, and I'm really surprised in some ways as to the huge interest in that shoe. People in the UK just seem to really dig the Brooks models, and that's okay with me. The Brooks Ghost Max seems to be one that is an extended implementation of the DNA Loft midsole material, with a 6mm drop, but quite a high weight level for the sample at least. I think it's about 283 grams, that's about 10 or so ounces. That makes it more along the lines of the Asics Nimbus 25 or the Keanu 30. So if you're after something in the max cushion sort of mileage category, then yeah, this one could be right up your street. One perhaps for the recovery sessions or the long runs where you need a slightly plusher upper perhaps. Now, I have noticed a few of the colourways of the Ghost Max do come in a wide and extra wide fitting. That could come in handy if you have a more voluminous foot. I think from looking at the images here, the extra weight we're seeing could be from the rubber, which is very generous on the outsole this time round. There is tons of it there, which I'm never really sure is that needed. You know, we don't need a tiny thin spreading of rubber, just something reasonable I guess will be okay for the majority of runners. $150 here in the US, that would translate to about 120 or something here in the UK. That does seem quite low for this type of shoe. I reckon it's going to be more along the lines of about £150 here. I think though, for me personally, I'm more suited to the Hyperion series. The Hyperion Max is an absolute banger. It's a bit lighter, it's a bit more nimble, just feels like it's more appropriate for my sort of running frame. Though it still could be a viewer favourite, I've already received a lot of requests to review this one. These models just seem to generate masses and masses of interest and discussion at the moment. I'm a bit on the fence for this one, but at the moment I think it's going to be a nay actually for the Brooks Ghost Max. There's just lots of other options out there that people seem to want me to try out. I'm always open to have my mind changed though. Shoe 3 today is the Endorphin Speed 4. Now, there's a chance that this model could have a dual layer midsole this time round, incorporating some of that PWRRUN HG material that we find in the Endorphin Elite model. Now, that is unconfirmed speculation on my part, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of that in the Speed 4. Speed's always had a P-Max based midsole. I see no reason why they're going to move away from that setup. Interestingly, we got some form of lace loops on both the lateral and medial side of the upper. There's two in fact on both sides. This no doubt will aid in the wrap around the foot. It's something a little bit different to what we saw in the Speed 3. That stabilizing plate is still visible there on the lateral and medial sides of the midsole, just sort of sticking out there a little bit. I'm not absolutely certain that I enjoyed having that extra winged plate there. I really did enjoy the original old V1 model of the Speed. They weren't the squishiest shoes, but certainly a lot firmer than the sort of compressive nature that we had in the Speed 3. I just don't feel it was perhaps quite as fun at speed in the Speed 3. It's kind of like a steady 3. That aside, I will definitely be picking up the Speed 4 when it does finally release. It's one of those models that people love so much from a point of view of speed, versatility and weight. So at the moment it's definitely a yay on the Endorphin Speed 4, though I'd love to know a little bit more about it. The outsole, I guess, is one area where we just need a little bit of tinkering. I'd love something that was a little bit closer to the Triumph 21 outsole. That's a real banger. Let me know about the Speed 3. Did you find it like better than the first two versions? I always thought that those were just that little bit more engaging, like fun and enjoyable to run in than the Speed 3. Just felt like they'd kind of nerfed the shoe a little bit. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, shoe 4, our last one up. It's a bit of a Saucony special today, I suppose. Now, I recently ran a poll on the community section of the channel, asking you what shoe you wanted me to pick up and review next. The Endorphin Elite came out right at the top of that poll, and for absolutely ages people have wanted me to pick it up and test it out to tell you what I think of it. Saucony have actually reached out recently once again to offer to get me a pair of these to test out, so thank you people. So it will be like a yay on this one because it's coming soon. There's no beaded P-backs here, a very different upper to just about everything else really. It's certainly out on its own, it's doing its very own thing. Of course, a new midsole formula which separates this shoe from the Endorphin Pro 3, and it's quite a drastic change up actually in pretty much every area of the shoe. Loads of people, when they get this shoe on foot, actually say it's absolutely phenomenal, so it will be interesting to see how it works for me. I'm reliably informed the Elite is very similar in weight to the Endorphin Pro 3, though this time it's very much one of those race event and premium training shoes. I do hear that the durability is, somewhat questionable. There's not a lot of rubber on the bottom of the Elite. I've noticed there's a few discounts popping up on this shoe now, which could explain why so many people are getting hold of me to ask me whether they should pick it up. I think it's like appeared on the radar now that the price has come down a little. So keep your eyes peeled on a review of the Endorphin Elite soon from Saucony. I think that almost completes the crop of super shoes from over the last sort of year or so, perhaps with the omission of the Fuel Cell SE3 or the Mizuno. There's a few people that have clearly bought them and put them up on eBay and stuff, and they just haven't worked for them. What do you make of the 4 shoes in today's yay or nay? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all of them down in the comments. Musical interlude today comes courtesy of Paul Weller with his fantastic album Heavy Soul from 1997. The actual title track here, part 2 in fact, later in the album, is one of the best bits on the whole record. The sound is just so natural and free. Sounds like a lot of people in a room making a noise, and it's a good noise too. Another personal favourite is one of the singles they put out, Peacock Suit. I don't need anybody to ruffle the feathers on my peacock suit. Really like the whole tone of this album. There's some cool sound effects, some really great guitars as well. Nice crunchy sort of tones and some wonderful playing as well. I think on Heavy Soul, Paul Weller was actually using a Gibson SG, very like the one I got a little while back. I love that guitar. It's such a fantastic model, never goes out of tune, really light on the shoulder too. I don't seem to have any problems with the vibrola on it either. A lot of people said it goes out of tune all the time, sends the strings out Don't know, maybe mine's just set up really well or something, but it just never goes out. I think if you're wanting to get into some of, well, as sort of heavier material, I suppose heavy soles are a really good place to sort of start your journey. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like too. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you